Hi, best friends. I'm Tabby.
And I'm Caitlin, and today we are discussing The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig.
I almost said One Dark Window.
Ah, also a classic.
Also great by Rachel
A
Gillig.
classic, and it's like 2 years old, but so good.
But we are so excited to discuss this book. It is mind blowing. It is just fantastic. It is original. We have been ecstatic to talk about it.
Yeah, really so excited. And everyone else is loving it as well. I'm looking at the Goodreads page, and it is 4.25 stars. It's rated by nearly 200,000 people.
Wow.
So that is so good, so beloved. And I'll go ahead and read the back of the book for us. Sybil Delling has spent 9 years of dreaming of having no dreams at all. Like the other foundling girls who traded a decade of service for a home in the great cathedral, Sybil is a diviner. In her dreams, she receives visions from 6 unearthly figures known as omens. From them, she can predict terrible things before they occur, and lords and common folk alike travel across the kingdom of Trom's windswept moors to learn their futures by her dreams. Just as she and her sister diviners near the end of their service, a mysterious knight arrives at the cathedral. Rude, heretical, and devilishly handsome, the knight Roderick has no respect for Sybil's visions. But when Sybil's fellow diviners begin to vanish one by one, she has no choice but to seek his help in finding them. For the world outside the cathedral's cloister is wrought with peril. Only the gods have the answers she is seeking, and as much as she'd rather avoid Roderick's dark eyes and sharp tongue, only a heretic can defeat a god.
I love heretics.
I love heretics, first of all. I am one myself. I think it's so funny that the back of the book like gives you such a good idea of like what's going to happen. I went into this blind. I didn't
I
know
don't
what
read the back of books.
I don't either. And I'm just like, man, this would have really like set me up for knowing what was going to happen. But no, I
No.
just went in blind.
I'm glad I did though, because I just didn't know what was gonna happen next.
Mhm.
And I love that. I love for it to be a surprise because I'm pretty easily entertained as it is.
Oh, same.
And I think there's just something exciting about being shocked throughout the
It
book.
was like we too had a shroud over our eyes.
Yeah. And I like it that way.
I do too. Okay, what would you rate this book?
So I gave it a 10.37 out of 10. And it wasn't quite an 11 because I think Rory's name was the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. It pissed me off. Roderick Mendacious. Shut the fuck up. No, I hate that. Just kidding, Rachel. I love you,
It
but
sounds like salacious.
yeah, like Salacious Crumb from Star Wars.
That is so funny and valid.
Every time I hear Roderick too, I think of Diary of a Wimpy
Oh,
Kid,
yeah.
like his brother, and it really ruined it because that's all I could picture was
Oh,
Roderick
that
from
is
Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
such a valid criticism. I thought his name was silly, obviously, but it didn't bother me that much. Rory was like a good nickname,
It's a
but
good nickname.
yeah, the fact that his full name was Roderick Mendacious was
It's like
crazy.
anytime she would say it in the audiobook, a Roderick recommendation, ugh.
Yeah, it's like it's no wonder that he was like, "Please, for the love of God, call me Rory."
Yeah,
He
because
also hates his
he
name.
knows his name is stupid.
I would give this book an 11 out of 10 just because I loved it so much. I think that Rachel Gillig has definitely gone to the top of my list. She is in my top 5 favorite authors of all time, and I am just so excited to continue. Like, it's hard for me to have left off on the cliffhanger for book 1 because when I read the Shepherd King duology, both of them were already out by the time I read them. So it's hard to like wait because it doesn't come out until September, but I'll stay strong.
It's gonna be so good when it does. It's gonna be so worth the wait.
I know. I'm pumped. I'm so pumped.
Especially the way we left off in this book.
It was so good. I feel like the cliffhanger was
No.
even crazier than her Shepherd King like cliffhanger
Yeah.
between the two. Yeah, she really has like she's gotten even
She
better at her craft.
she pulled no punches.
Yeah,
I love that.
same.
Let's talk about the characters. Let's dive in here.
Let's start with Sybil. What'd you think of her?
I loved Sybil. Oh, I feel like I say this a lot. I'm really picky about my female main characters. And I feel like Rachel Gillig is so good about making unique and, like, authentic characters. Like, she doesn't just copy and paste, like, each one is their own person, but they're not annoying, like, they're not trying to, like, prove to themselves that they're better than everyone else or that they're, like, stronger than like, Sybil loved her family, and that's all she wanted to do is find her friends.
Yeah.
And, like, as, like, she grew her family and as she, like, gained these people, I feel like it was really fun to watch her, kind of figure out, like, who she was because, like, all her life, she was just a diviner, that's all she knew. And so, like, watching her see the world for the first time was just really
It
cool. I
was.
liked her a lot.
I agree with everything that you said. I thought what was super refreshing about her is, like, obviously she's really brave and strong, like, mentally, but she just was also physically a brick house of a woman, and I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of hilarious at times. Like, she straight up deadlifted the gargoyle out of a hole one time when he got stuck,
She's a strong lady.
and she put a big beefy knight on his back, which was kinda hot, and he liked it.
Yeah.
She's just refreshing. I love that about Rachel's characters as well is, like, of course, they're flawed. They're going to do things
That piss
that
you
are
off.
annoying, but they have such growth, like, from the beginning to the end. I just am really excited to see how she's going to take, like, her newfound, like, world lens and confidence and apply that to the conflict in book 2.
Yeah, definitely. I also really loved Rory. As much as I hated his name, I do think Rory was a great main male character. I don't know, like, I just kinda like the asshole, like, type vibe, but, like, deep down, like, it's just because he had a rough childhood, like, he had it rough growing up and, like, he was given, like, an opportunity and didn't wanna waste that, and I don't know, I thought he was fun.
No, I agree. I think more so of all of Rachel Gillig's male leads, I am the most in love with Rory. I thought it was just yeah, he's prickly, but he's just genuinely such a good person. Like, he's so loyal,
Yeah.
he's so empathetic, and every time they called him a bad knight, I was like, "No, he's a good knight."
He's a very good knight.
For instance, whenever Sybil's shroud got knocked off when she fought the oarsmen, he
Yeah.
specifically, like, replaced the shroud knowing, like, that was super meaningful to her, even though, like, that wasn't the most important thing going on. She was, like, drowned and needed to be revived, but he thought of that. He's just a very kind person.
So respectful.
Yes.
He calls himself well, he is a heretic, but, like, he even thinks himself, like, not a good person, and it's like everything he does is just so intentional,
Exactly.
even when he doesn't realize it. I don't know, it's just like, that was very special.
Yes, and that's something that he calls himself, a bad person or whatever. I think everyone gets hung up on the fact that he's not nice, like, he's not a nice guy, but he's a good guy, and
Yeah.
they're like, people are kind of like because he's a little bit rough around the edges, they're like, "Yeah, that guy's a piece of shit," but he's not. I also really loved that, like, whenever they were flirting or whatever, and they hadn't gotten together yet, he was, like, this big, strong man, but Sybil, like, legitimately made him blush, and he
Yeah.
got so flustered, and I just thought that was really endearing about him because he's a young man, like,
They're both, like, young people yeah.
they're, like, in their mid-20s, they've never had, like, real relationships before, and they were just, like, truly smitten. It was very cute.
Well, and I just love the way that, like, Rachel writes, like, her romance scenes.
Mhm.
Like, it's not over the top, and it's not, like, super smutty, it's not, like, very, like, in detail, but, like, it's so beautiful
Yes, they're
the way she and I
wholesome.
love that.
Yes.
Like, it's not taking away from the story, it's just enhancing it.
It's 100% enhancing it. I think that's why she's kind of, she limits the amount of romance scenes that she actually writes in detail. Otherwise, she'll like, if they are going to sleep together again and it's not gonna move the story forward, she'll just kind of allude to it and then move on, kind of
Yeah.
like a closed door situation. So, I think that she is really good at using it as an actual, like, plot device, which is, like, obviously, we are not judging, like, smut for the sake of
No.
writing smut. We obviously love that as well. It has its place, but there's something to be said for, less is more.
Yeah. There was a good pining, and I like that. There was, like, a lot of good tension, and I think
Ugh,
I enjoyed that more so than anything else, was
the
just,
buildup was so
like,
good.
the tension between the 2, and that's gonna continue in book 2 now that they're separated. And so it was kinda perfect.
I know, and I'm devastated for them. But it's funny because Tabby had read the book before I did. So when I was like reading the second half of the book, I was basically like live tweeting my every reaction directly to you. And at one point, I was like, I just need them to bang already. But it was great that she didn't do that. She didn't give that to us because it made it so much better when they finally admitted their feelings for each other. The yearning pays off. You know who else I love? Bartholomew.
Bartholomew. I'm obsessed with him.
He's so funny. He relieves the tension with his comedy,
Mhm.
and I just thought he was such a good addition to the story, like, throughout, but
Yes.
then the big reveal at the end, it's like, oh, he's actually very significant to the lore as well. So that was a good reveal.
Bartholomew made me cry in 2 different ways throughout this book,
Yeah,
like, one from, like, laughing because, like, listening to him on the audiobook, the narrator they chose, first of all, was perfection, but the way she voiced Bartholomew was hysterical.
yeah,
It was so good, but also, his story made me sob.
I
I
know.
was so sad, especially just because, like, the callback from the beginning was so cool because you didn't know it was him telling the story, and so I thought that was very exciting, and I loved when we actually got to see, his lore and where he came from, and I am excited to see how they utilize him too in book 2, because I feel like we're gonna see a really cool character arc for him.
Yes, he is such a good addition to this story for so many reasons. Also, every time that somebody raised their voice at him and Sybil was like, "Don't yell at him," I was like, "That is so funny to me." Because at
He
first,
is a sensitive boy.
he's very sensitive, but it's kind of another growth point for Sybil because she used to find him dramatic and annoying, and
Yeah,
like she used to not be like super considerate of his feelings.
yeah.
And so whenever she sort of stepped up and became his protector as well, I was like, that is just so sweet to see because they both became like best friends and it was really wholesome.
Well, and seeing how Rachel so, like, I follow her on Instagram, and, like, the way she responds to, like, her fans and stuff too, she calls all of them Bartholomew, and I think it is, like, the funniest thing ever. So I'm excited to, like, see how they start to incorporate that in the fandom as well. I feel like he's just gonna be a character that everyone remembers forever.
She really did settle on the perfect name for that. Like if somebody is going to call everyone by the same name, it's hilarious that it's
Bartholomew's
Bartholomew.
it.
Because I was legitimately confused at first. Like I was like, "Oh, is her name really Bartholomew?" Like I was taken aback.
Well,
It
even
was good.
Rory, I think, like, when he would call him that, he'd be like, "Who the fuck is he talking to?"
Yeah, the first time he called Sybil Bartholomew, Rory was like, "Wait,
"Is your name Bartholomew?"
Oh god, that was so funny. Okay, and next, I wanna talk a little bit about Maud because Maud was also a very good addition to this
I
story.
do love Maude. I
She
didn't at
is
first.
yeah, because she's kind of abrasive, and
Yeah,
she has I mean, she's a knight, and she's taken that seriously. She has been a knight for a very long time, and she came from a strong family that was very like defended their home from the sprites. So she had these like worldviews that weren't always the most empathetic.
yeah,
And she was more focused on just being a protector and a defender by slaying threat. And so I just thought what was really nice was that Rachel wrote her arc in the way that she did because what happened with that sprite, I feel like that could have just made her like even more like disdainful
yeah,
and made her hatred grow even more. But she was like, no, I fucked up and I realized I am kind of the monster here. I'm kind of the oppressor.
yeah,
For her to have that realization when the other people in this story are not, like the omens aren't putting it together, the knights aren't putting it together, that, hey, we're kind of the bad guys, aren't we?
yeah.
Like it was really nice to have her moment, like set them apart.
Because that doesn't always happen either. It's like, a lot of the time, like, people are just so set in what they believe, and I feel like you don't see that in stories a lot either, like, them halfway through being like, "Oh."
Yeah,
You know? We've been looking at this all wrong this whole time.
exactly.
Yeah, so that was cool. I do love Maud. And I feel really bad for her.
Me
I feel
too.
so bad for her because she, especially with we'll talk about Benji here in a minute, but like that's her boy.
It's basically her son.
Yeah, like that's her son. And like I know she just felt so betrayed
Yeah.
and like heartbroken, and I feel kind of the same way because again I was reading for vibes and I felt betrayed. Like I didn't see that coming till the very end when he started like acting a little weird. I am interested to see how that relationship is either possibly repaired or if she's going to have to do, something she doesn't want to have to do in book 2, but
I'm going to
I don't
be
know.
unwell if we don't get a redemption arc for
I'm
Benji.
almost afraid she's going to be the one that has to take care of Benji.
Oh my god. I can't. Okay, so let's talk about Benji because yes, we were both so extremely disappointed in him because he is just a boy. Like, and that is emphasized heavily in the story. Rachel does that for a reason. Like, she wants it to be conflicting for the reader. It's hard to be mad at him because he is literally 17 years old. He thinks that the only way that he can keep the kingdom together and keep it from devolving into absolute chaos is to do this new plan where he's like, the diviner is like, people already have faith in her, so I'm just gonna like force her to marry me, be my queen, and then that'll be like the new faith system for the kingdom. He is just lost, I think, and I'm
Yeah.
really hopeful that he gets a redemption arc.
I don't think it started off as something nefarious. Like, I'm sure in his heart, like, I do think he cares for
Oh
Sybil.
yeah, I do.
But again, he's so young. Like, he doesn't know what love is. Like, I'm sure he's kind of misunderstanding like his respect and care for her as like, oh, I could love her. And that's really sad, but also just like he's so impressionable. And so as soon as he started like hanging around those two other knights and like they were kind of imparting like their ideas onto him, like I knew something was going to happen. Like I could feel that like a turn was going to be taken later in the book.
Especially because those knights don't like Rory,
Right.
and so they had to have been, like, putting things in his ear too of, like, "You rely too heavily on him," and
Yeah.
yeah.
I want the best for Benji, but like that was such a kick in the teeth at the end because Rory was like Rory would do anything for him.
Yeah, that's his brother.
Like
That's his
anything.
baby brother.
So, yeah, I was so heartbroken and it made my stomach hurt. It made my stomach hurt. I didn't like it.
Same.
And I hated that Sybil was just I have no cards in my hand here. Like all I can do is go with them.
Yeah, I mean, what choice did she have? Like, literally, they would have been murdered by the knighthood if she didn't just go with him,
Yeah.
and it sucks, but it's like, she knew what she had to do, and she's gonna figure it out. I think what's really interesting about this particular, like, villain arc for Benji is it's significantly different from what happened in the Shepherd duology because we already didn't like I don't even remember that prince's name.
I don't remember.
But that guy, the one who became the villain, like, we already didn't like him.
Yeah.
We already didn't trust him, like, from the get-go. Whereas with Benji, it's different. Like, we loved him. We thought he was so precious and sweet, and then this happened. So, yeah, I think she did a really good job playing with our emotions here.
There were a lot of storylines going on because you had like Sybil's beef with like the abbess, and then you had like the storyline with the diviners, and then you had the storyline with like the omens and whatnot. And so I don't know. There were a lot of villains. There were a whole lot of villains,
True.
and so like I just didn't want it to be
I
Benji. I
know.
thought we were just gonna focus on one thing, but no, we were focusing on like 9 different people.
Yeah, I was like, the abbess is going to be, like, the main villain in book 2, and then they killed her, and I was like, "No, no, 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 no."
Oh, okay.
Because already we were kind of, like, worried about Benji, and then the abbess died, and I was like, "Oh, fuck, like, come on."
But I do want to talk about the diviners because their
Oh god, yeah.
plot line was so sad.
Oh, devastating.
It's like a system that truly, like, failed these children, that everyone knows about. Because like, even the people who are running, like, these houses, like, they may not know exactly what was gonna happen, but, like, they were taking orphans and, like, selling them, so
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, they're not at fault.
It seemed like at the, at the foundling houses, the people in charge didn't necessarily have a lot of, love for the children there, and it was very heartbreaking.
Like, that's a family that they forged amongst themselves, even if they didn't get along all the time.
Well, yeah, because 'cause they're sisters, they're gonna fight.
Yeah. And I loved all the different, like, personalities we had, and they were all
Same.
so, like, fun, and they all played a part in, like, what they did, and it was just,
Yeah.
gut-wrenching.
It was really hard in the heart-sore weaver's cave, like, whenever she
Mhm.
saw one's body and she had a split second of, like, hope that she could save
Yeah.
her, I was like, "Why did we have to do that to me?"
And they said, "No, bitch, we're actually eating them."
Oh god. Okay, so you know the song 500 Miles by Peter, Paul, and Mary that's gone
Yes.
viral, and everyone's making those heartbreaking edits? Here's what I need. I need someone who's really good at drawing and who's making these heartbreaking edits to do one with the diviners, because then they could
Because
go, "I'm 1,
1
I'm 2." And then at the end, it could just be Sybil when it's, like, miles from my home, just, like, all alone. Like, that would be the most devastating thing, and I think someone should do
That would
it.
be so good. Yeah, someone please. We're gonna put this on our Instagram
Yes, we're gonna call for
as
this.
a plea.
Yes, please, because I just really want to be sad today.
Yeah, no, that would make me cry. Uh, I I'm still maybe holding out hope somehow, like, maybe their spirits will come back later and, like, assist Sybil somehow, or, like, she can talk to them,
That would be really sad.
but, like, I just don't wanna be done with them yet.
I just want her to have at least closure. Can she have some closure, please? Like, she everything's been taken from her.
Can she catch a fucking break?
Our poor, poor girl. Speaking of people who don't give her a fucking break, the abbess, freaking bitch ass, wretched ass, horrible villain.
Awful. When I thought of the abbess, like, all I could picture was the other mother from Coraline.
Oh, yeah.
Just this spindly little creature who, like, acted like she,
Spaghetti neck.
like, loved yeah, spaghetti neck with her little long ass fingers, preying on these children.
I know.
Like
She's horrible. And,
like a little spider.
like, so it's like, yes, she, like, uses them and then, like, discards them like they're trash, sends them to their death. But what's worse is that she also just, like, holds on to one and makes them an eternal slave. Like,
Yeah.
I she's horrible. But it is not surprising that she has 0 humanity because she just was stillborn and then turned into a monster in this
Right.
magical spring. It's, like, horrible.
Yeah, it's like you can't really be normal from
She
that.
didn't have a chance. Like, she didn't have a family. She just, like,
It may not be her fault, but
slowly grew into a monster by herself. Like, that's insane. That's crazy. And I
yeah,
hate that for
like,
her.
everybody in this book has such a tragic beginning. Like, nobody's safe
Yeah.
here.
The Stonewater Kingdom, it just takes you and it
Like,
breaks you.
it's just nothing but downfall in this kingdom.
It just hammer and chisels you until you're nothing.
But, I mean, that was most of, like, our main characters here. We'll talk about some thoughts and concerns as always. What are some things that you liked about this
Oh,
book?
some things that I like. So, one of the first things is that I just love the vibes, and the
Mm,
vibes, like, of her drowning in the spring and coming back reminded me of Six Deaths of the Saint, which was
ugh,
just the most beautiful short story I've ever read. So, that was one thing that
yes.
just, like, brought some warmth to me immediately.
Well, and just what a I don't wanna say an interesting, like, addition to the story. It is really scary. Like, the first
Yeah.
time they, like, drowned her, I was like, "Oh," like, that gave me, like, a weird feeling. I didn't really like that. Like, can
Yeah.
you imagine, like, your job is just to die constantly?
To die, and then whenever she's in that liminal state, to feel every single pain and every single
Yeah.
breaking bone, she just, like, feels it, like it's really
Mhm.
happening. Like, that's torturous and horrible. I love that.
But they were all just, like, so cool with it because they didn't know
They were
anything
like,
else.
"Well, this is our job, and service is almost up, just gotta deal with it for another year or so, like, no big deal."
That just, like, haunts me.
Yeah, and they were children.
Like, imagine the first time you had to do that, just, "Ooh."
No, they must have been, like, so freaking terrified. That's horrible.
Yeah. I do like that Rachel Gillig in One Dark Window, she had like the Providence cards. And then in this book, she had the omens. And each person kind of like has like their assigned like piece that they have. And I think that's a really fun thing that she continues to do, like in the books that she writes. And I hope she like continues to do that, but she doesn't copy it. Like she makes it its own thing and it's unique. But it is something I've noticed like repeated is that she always has like these divine like items.
Yes, I really like that as well. It's kind of like her little signature at this point.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about Rachel's just a very talented author, but you know, the allegory in this particular story just hits different in 2026 and in
Yeah.
these trying times, because you've got these mortals who are living like pretending to be gods, hoarding all of the wealth, while the people in their kingdom who look up to them and worship them are suffering.
Yeah.
And then we've also got the sprites, which is basically just a personification of the environment, starving to death.
Yeah.
And people continue to not help these sprites, but contribute to the issue and continue to damage the environment, if you will. So I was just like, oh my God, wow, I hate that.
But I love how she did it. It's very on the nose.
It's very on the nose, but also fantastical enough to like she can get away with it and people are not like, this is too political. You know what's crazy is when people are like, reading's not political.
Well, and like what a crazy thing to say because like most good books are political. Like most of them are a commentary on whatever is happening in the world.
I am convinced that the people who say reading is not political
I've
have
never
never
read a
actually
book.
read a book in their
Yeah.
life.
They probably don't know how to read.
Yeah, crazy. I also really, really thought it was beautiful how she had this just underlying theme of losing faith as well, because Sybil's entire identity was just crumbling before her eyes, which is something that a lot of people deal with as they get older. They go through religious
Mhm.
deconstructions and kind of lose their faith that they grew up with. So that's something that is relatable to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And just like the Sybil, whenever she finally was ready to accept the truth and her new place in the world, removing the shroud was just like iconic and like super, on the nose again, but beautiful. And I loved it.
Symbolic, yeah. It was great. No, and I love that point that you bring up because it's like you are sometimes the product of what you were raised by, and until you can like get out and like experience things in your own view, you're never going to see anything differently. And so, I think a lot of people can definitely relate to that, whether they were, raised in the church, raised outside of the church. Like until you get away from like those that raised you, like you're never going to form your own opinions.
Exactly.
So I wonder if like sometimes when authors do that, like I wonder if it's almost like their own story. Like
Yeah.
maybe like that's something that they went through as a young adult and like heavily inspired these characters.
That would be a really nice like interview question to ask them. Like, if anyone gets the
Yeah,
chance to interview Rachel, just see, how much of Sybil was inspired by her own personal life. I'd be curious.
definitely.
Can I also just really quick, let's talk about the foreshadowing in this book
Yeah.
because the way I could not rest because I just felt dread throughout this entire story because the beginning of the book it starts off so happy. The diviners are like, "Oh, when we get out of here, we're going to do all the things we never could. We're going to have each other."
And it's like, oh no, you're not.
And I was like, "Oh my god, they're all going to die." Oh my, because again, hadn't read the back of the book, didn't know the
Right.
diviners were going to disappear. Hackles raised. And then we also have Benji. So at one point, whenever Sybil is like finally chatting with Benji,
Hmm.
she said, I suddenly felt a surge of pity. Benedict Castor was, after all, only a boy of 17 with everything in the world to prove. And it's like, oh, he's going to do something. He's going to do something.
Damn.
Ah, fuck.
Okay.
And then immediately following Rory and Sybil getting together for the first time, there it flipped to the next page and it said, "Only love, only heartbreak can weave the thread of all that came and all that is yet to come." And I said, "Can we fucking not?" Can we not?
Like, can anybody catch a break in this book?
Anybody, please. Rachel, you're so mean to your characters.
Well, it's like even with Bartholomew, it's like at some point you realize, like, oh, there is more to this gargoyle than what's being let
Oh,
on.
certainly. When he has, like, moments of, like,
Lucidity.
lucidity, but he can't quite recall, like, whatever it is he's trying to recall, and you're
And you're
like, "Oh
like,
my
oh
god."
no, you're a victim too. But even with like all of the like sadness and darkness, like there was still a lot of like good humor in this book. And
Yes.
I think like Rachel's just really good at that. Even in One Dark Window, like there was such like excellently placed humor and banter and like just lightness throughout the story
Mhm.
because it can't all be dark. Like
Yeah.
you gotta have
Otherwise,
some
we
comedic
would stop
relief.
reading.
Even if it's like dark humor, like you gotta lighten it up somehow. And I feel like she did it perfectly. Like it never took away from the story. It was just like beautifully placed
Yeah,
constantly.
100% agreed.
Bartholomew was the perfect like comedic relief.
That's what I'm saying. He just is the best character that she's ever written. Like, he's just so good. And along with the humor, like having the romance too, like the
Yeah.
flirting and the levity to like really, bring us some joy in the dark. Speaking of the romance, can I draw your attention next to these very specific micro tropes that I just love in a romance? So the first one being whenever they they have a little bit of rivalry going on, so they only call each other by their last name. And that's mendacious, for example, until things get like really intense and all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm gonna be vulnerable here for a second. I'm gonna use
Yeah.
their first name in this moment, and it just hits every time. Also, whenever they are finally getting together and finally undressing to be intimate, whenever the main male character says "arms up" and like lifts the shirt up, oh my god,
Like, oh, okay.
it's gonna hit every time. And
I was giddy.
you know where that trope first got me? I was like, I was just a girl. I was like 11 years old. And I was watching, maybe I shouldn't have been watching this, but I did. And I was watching How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
I
And
love that
I
movie.
don't think he literally says arms up, but he non-verbally says arms up and undresses her before they shower together. And I was like 11 and I was like, oh.
Matthew McConaughey, the man that you are.
I was like, I'm listening. You have my attention. It's just so
It's
good.
Caitlin was changed as a person at the ripe age of 11.
And then it was then that I was like, I love romance.
I
Um,
love love.
Also, we already talked about this a little bit, but whenever the super like intimidating and strong main male character gets flustered by the female main character, it's just really cute. But also the fact that they were both just super strong and capable and basically took turns rescuing each other too.
Yeah.
I love
And
that.
it's
It's
like
like,
neither well, I will say Sybil at first was a little hesitant, I think, to be both of them were. They both were. But like the more it happened, the more they were just like, yes, that is someone I can rely on and I don't have to worry about them.
exactly.
But
They were like,
when
oh,
you
they can
have
handle
strong
themselves.
personalities, like you're gonna have a little bit of like clashing at the beginning, obviously. But
Oh yeah.
I think that is something that's very important to Rory and Sybil is that they don't have to carry the other like side of it.
Yes, that's what they need in a partner, and that's why their love is so strong, I think.
Yeah. Things we didn't like. There wasn't like a ton I didn't like about this book.
I have a very specific list, but it's not long.
No, mine was really my only beef was Rory's full name. That was it.
Yes. That's fair. Okay, then I'll do mine really quick. And okay, this is not me nitpicking, this is just me saying my piece. The word derision was actually used a distractingly high amount of times, and it didn't feel like it was
Yeah.
in the same, like, inside joke sort of way that she was overusing the word ignoble, because that was, like,
No, ignoble is on my
intentional.
list actually. No, you're right. I
Yeah,
hated the word ignoble.
but you can, like, tell that they were, like, doing that intentionally, right? Like, that was,
Mhm.
like, them, like it was an inside joke of sorts
Yeah.
between them. Whereas the word derision, I was kind of like, "Why are we using that word so much?"
Are we using it correctly?
Yeah, that word does not mean what you think it means. No, she was using it correctly.
She was.
I was just like, that's distracting because people don't use that word. The other thing is, I was just really queasy to think about the diviners drinking people's blood. Um,
Yeah.
do people not have blood-borne pathogens in the Stonewater Kingdom? Is my
Well, the
question.
diviners are creatures of God, so they, of course, cannot carry illnesses.
Oh, and they also are technically like zombies at this point, right?
Yeah.
Living
Yeah, no,
zombies.
they're dead inside.
They're dead, but they're
Like,
also alive. Yeah, that was
yeah.
horrifying to me. And then also when the horse got eaten by a sprite, which was really sad to me.
Why
Um,
do animals have to die in books?
exactly, because I didn't even blink whenever, like, that one lady got eaten, but I was like, "The
No.
horse? Come on.
Like, come on, man.
Come
Like, the horse
on.
could have gotten away.
The horse can run. The horse is very fast." Yeah, that was really sad. Um, that's my list.
Yeah, not bad. Not every book is perfect. There's always gonna be something that, like, maybe just doesn't, like, spark joy the way you want it to, but that doesn't mean it's a bad book.
Exactly.
That just means, like, sometimes I'm picky.
And I am, and I acknowledge it, but I still rate this book extremely high.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's move on to some discussion questions because this is one that I just genuinely I want to ask you. Is Sybil in danger of becoming a gargoyle?
I don't think so, because I think the abbess has to, like, turn them into that, right?
Here's why I'm confused is because like the process of becoming a gargoyle is for those who are like drinking the water
Oh, yeah, that's right.
regularly. If they don't have it, then they like starve and then they become
Well,
a
and
gargoyle.
she drowned the most
That's
times
why I'm like,
too.
is
Yeah.
this should we be concerned? Because it's like she wrote it the way she wrote it on purpose.
And, I mean, she was the last one left because she was going to become a gargoyle.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm
uh,
like, is there like a certain threshold where like you're no longer going to it, like if you no longer have access to the spring water, you're going to become a gargoyle? Is there a certain threshold and has she met it?
huh,
Because also they buried that spring.
that's true.
So she's not going to get the water.
You know, I'm sure Rachel did that on purpose, and I'm sure that will be an issue later on. I think that's a valid No, I think that's a valid concern.
I'm worried because like listen, I know Rory still thinks she's beautiful with her stone eyes, but
But, like, they are
I think there's
stone.
probably a limit.
Like
There's probably a
like,
limit.
we're already working our way towards it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Mm,
I already would be like a little icked out if my lover had stone
I'd
eyes.
wanna touch him, I think.
Yeah, I would want to as well.
I'd wanna
For
touch him,
sure.
yeah.
Be like, "Can I poke
Can
that?"
I just see what it feels like?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I do have kind of like a secondary question
Okay.
about the gargoyles as well because again, this is all kind of coming from like the Heartsore Weaver
Yeah.
because she was basically turning into a gargoyle,
Mhm.
because she wasn't drinking the spring water. And so she was like talking about how they didn't have any memories of their life before. And like we saw that with Bartholomew, like
Yeah.
he was really struggling to remember. But he did have those like moments where
Yeah.
he did. And it was kind of like difficult for him, but he could kind of grasp it. So do you think that other gargoyles ever had those moments where they like remembered because that just makes me like really sad.
I'm sure
And
they
I'm
did
devastated for
because
them.
Bartholomew was, like, the first one, and so it's like, if he can still remember, but Bartholomew was pure of heart. And I think that makes a difference. I feel like these other gargoyles are, like, a little hateful, and I don't know if it's because of what they became or if, like, maybe they were always like that, or and, like, that's why the abbess chose them, because, like, she, in the end, ended up, like, not, like, hating Bartholomew because he was soft-hearted and he questioned too much, and so I'm wondering if, like, the other gargoyles, like, she selected differently because they didn't question, like, their loyalty to her.
Well, yeah, because that's why she wanted it to be Sybil,
Right.
because Sybil well, up until the diviners started going missing, Sybil was very like, she didn't question
Unyielding,
Vane.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think it's, yeah, Bartholomew's an outlier because he was the first and, like, she didn't quite know how to control him.
Yeah. I'm still sad about the gargoyles' deaths, but that does make me less sad to think that
Yeah, I don't
they
think they
just
were
were
good.
gone. They were too far gone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Sybil before Sybil, like, killed them too, she even was like, because she hesitated, but she was like, I couldn't undo what the abbess
Yeah.
did to them," or something like that.
Well, okay, so that kind of brings me to my question because I do think we're gonna come full circle. So, do you think Bartholomew, like, obviously the abbess is dead, but do you feel like he's gonna be kind of like the hero at the end? I like, do you think we'll come full circle here? Because now that you've said that, like, you asked that question, like, I'm almost wondering if they figure out how to like stop that from happening and he turns back into like what he is, but maybe he doesn't like live past that.
Oh my god, like he's a martyr.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, he's
Oh,
old.
oh, oh, fuck. Oh god. I'm hurt already.
That's kinda I feel like that's kinda like maybe what is gonna happen.
I could really see that happening, and here's why.
He saves his Bartholomew.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 1, that would just be a beautiful story, and 2, I think that would parallel, again, the Shepherd King duology, kind of how that story wrapped up as well, without going into too much detail. That would be very similar as far as, like, how she tends to write her
Yeah,
characters and what purpose each character serves in her stories. I think that is a really strong possibility,
yeah.
and I also think that I will sob. But I sobbed with, the Shepherd duology as well.
So it would make sense. It would make sense.
It really would.
Anyways, that is
What is this book called? The Night and the
that
Moth.
is The Night and the Moth.
Join us on March 9th for our next mini-sode. We are going to be doing another installment of Best Friends Book Club Explains, where I'm going to teach Tabby about the history of werewolves, which is because
For our next discussion, on March 30th, we're going to be covering Mate by Allie Hazelwood. Accidentally, this year is going to be the year of Allie Hazelwood once again.
every year is.
Mate is the continuation of Bride, which we did last year, and Bride was hysterical. Mate is also amazing. So if you haven't already, read Bride first.
Yes. You'll need the gaps filled in a little bit. Yeah, so go ahead, get started on Bride and Mate if you haven't already. We will talk to you next time. And as always,
Let's get lit.